This hour is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford, Alabama's F-150 Superstore. Welcome to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, 256-576-4977.
That's how I roll.
And I'm not going to drink and drive anymore.
That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Wes and Steve.
And a handoff going to Roderick Robinson. He'll hurdle over a couple of linemen on the ground at the 8 and hop right into the end zone for the touchdown.
Caddis also wide right. Tight end on the right side is Bates. Play fake Leary. Sprints out to his right. Sets. Throws back to the near side. And he's got Davis diving for the pylon on the near side. Touchdown! Yes, sir. Kentucky!
Second down and goal to go just outside the 1 yard line. KJ gets the snap, gives it to DeBinion right side. Touchdown, Arkansas. DeBinion into the end zone, and the Razorbacks are up 20-6.
It's back to throw. In trouble, steps up, hit, the ball's out. It's bouncing back on the field. They're not calling it dead. Grabbed by Ivy. He's going down the sidelines. Big guy's going to score a TD. Big man touchdown as Jared Ivy from Suwanee, Georgia, takes it to the end zone.
Man in motion, goes to the far side. Here's Milroe, loads up, looks down the left side. He's got a man there open in the end zone. Touchdown, Jermaine Burton. That will be 49 yards.
Now they throw it out to the near side to Castles, the tight end. Nice. A tackle to the 30, to the 20, to the 10, all the way to the checkerboards. Touchdown. Tennessee's tight end, McCollum Castles, catches the ball on a little screen pass to the left and just barrels his way 43 yards for a Tennessee touchdown.
Thorne takes a knee, and Auburn will be victorious in the Golden State. And the Auburn team sprints to the Auburn fans and the Auburn band in the southeast corner. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's an Auburn Tiger winner. Auburn 14, Cal 10.
That's just a few of the calls from over the weekend from Learfield, as well as you also heard from Big Blue Radio Network and the Auburn Network as well to close things out. I realize there is a lot to react to in the Southeastern Conference. Thank goodness for wins by Ole Miss and by the Auburn Tigers, who snatched victory out of the jaws of defeat. Cal just saying, no, we don't want to win. No, you don't understand. We really don't want to win. You understand, we really, really don't want to win. That was not the case for the Texas Longhorns, who went into Bryant-Denny and come away with a 10-point victory over the Alabama Crimson Tide, 34-24. Wes is out today, but I had a conversation with Wes just about an hour and a half ago. Despite all the issues with the penalties, the turnovers, Bama was still in the lead in the fourth quarter, not owning the fourth quarter. How much did that surprise you, Wes?
Well, I mean, you look at the last four losses: Georgia, Tennessee, LSU, and now Texas. They've all been beaten in the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
it's very disappointing. It's how Alabama has won games throughout history. It's winning the fourth quarter, and that has been the main hiccup in those four losses. Very disappointed. The fact that they just couldn't get off the field on third down against Texas, and they had trouble covering Texas. Coach Saban said they had a bunch of blown coverages, this or that. But in my opinion, we've gotten out coached in all those games. And you look at the there are several things in this game that clearly became apparent. One is the center didn't have a very good game, and he got beat a couple times. Had bad snaps the whole time. You got a young quarterback, I think, was indecisive the first half, and I think he played better except for that one throw, which is obvious you can't do that. I mean, You cannot throw it inside on cover two. You're going to get that. Everybody you play will intercept that ball. The way it was the way it was run and the way it was thrown. And then you go and look at the left freshman, left tackle, which I mentioned that I was worried about.
Yeah.
You know, you never know what you're going to get. He had 4 sacks, with 3 to 4 sacks, and allowed a lot of pressure. And then you go and look at during the games and how many times is his man. I mean, he was having trouble finishing blocks because he doesn't know how to. He's a young guy. And they were coming off and his guy was coming off and making the tackle 3 or 4 yards downfield. But still, those could have been big plays. They're going to watch that film and realize what we always say, that, it's 4 or 5 plays that you make in a game that'll win the game. You just never know when those are going to be. And that's what they're going to watch, and they're going to be very disappointed. But the biggest question I have is where do they go from here? Did they stay with Milroe? Did they I thought Milroe did some incredible things in the game, and he did some awful things too. Obviously, we said the way Texas wins is if they win the turnover and whoever's able to run the ball. Well, Alabama was able to run the ball the first half, but couldn't the second. Really, in my opinion, got whipped the second half. And Texas had a great game plan. Alabama figured it out and started hitting some big plays. But they needed to figure it out in the first quarter, but halfway through the third. So that's hats off to Texas. Though Texas outplayed Alabama. It's hard to say anything different.
Well, a lot of the issues that were last year popped up a little bit in this one, and specifically penalties. But it felt like penalties in particular came at the worst times, which was kind of the hallmark of last year's team too, Wes.
Well, the 3 biggest penalties in the game were obviously you get 2 touchdowns called back. They kind of rough on some, I thought, on some interference penalties against number 3 in that game, especially early.
Yeah.
I thought those were kind of rough. But the obvious one is, you blame the offensive line for the first touchdown, but if you watch that, the quarterback tucks the ball, right? When he tucks the ball under his arm and starts running, the offensive lineman sees that, goes downfield. Well, then he stops and untucks it and throws it. So it's hard to blame that. The second one, the guy was holding because he wasn't finishing his blocks. And all of a sudden, the guys around him, and now Milroe was holding the ball a long time because he's having trouble reading. They had him confused. So to me, this is a bunch of young guys with not a lot of experience making mistakes, and you can't beat good teams like that making those kind of mistakes. They're going to get you beat. The other thing I was very disappointed is our pass rush. I mean, when we got somebody that we had no sacks, but when we did get people in his face, he threw incompletes. He tried to throw a couple interceptions. We didn't catch it. But when you gave him time, he picked us apart. So, I just think that they got a lot of work to be a top 5 team. I think they're a top 10 team, but to be in that top 5, they got a lot of improvement to do. And at least they know where they stand now, right?
Yeah.
And where they go from here is up to them as a team. And there's nothing that anybody can do but hope that they get better and hope that they realize they need to get better.
I'm glad you mentioned the lack of pressure on the pocket. You mentioned 0 sacks, only 2 tackles for loss as well defensively, and that really.
But they went through the third quarter and they got pressure on him, and he was having to throw it. He wasn't taking sacks, which is huge. I mean, he was throwing the ball away or throwing it high, and I thought they were getting to him. But then all of a sudden, when he was able to step up in the pocket and there was nobody in his face, he killed us. Absolutely destroyed us.
I want to go back to the offensive line. How correctable are those mistakes that you see at center and left tackle?
Well, center, he had he had 2 guys that were really good.
Yeah.
You'll play some good guys like that, but it's not going to be every week. And he had a bad game, snapping the ball. He got beat a couple of times. This is guys a veteran. I think that he'll learn from that. And I had watched the tape. I don't know who was, maybe the guard made some false steps, and it gave a guy an angle to get by him. You got to protect your center when he's snapping the ball between his legs back to the quarterback, But I guarantee you, if he keeps with the bad snaps, he won't be center long. There'll be somebody else in there. Because if you don't get the snap, you can't win the game.
Should there be a quarterback competition this week?
I think, yeah. I think this should always be a competition. But I don't think I think you got a game plan with Milroe. I think Milroe did some incredible things in the game. I mean, it's like feast or famine, though, right?
Yeah.
For Alabama to win on a high level, as I said, I think they can win with any of those quarterbacks. I just don't think they can win a championship until they get better at quarterback. There's a big difference, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you can't throw interceptions, especially on your side of the field. I mean, Alabama had the lead, and 15 seconds later they were down by 2 scores.
Yeah.
Got to give it to him now. He went down there, did what he had to do to get us back in the game, made some of the best throws of the day, scores a touchdown, goes for 2, very athletic play he made to get the 2-point conversion. Great catch. His receivers played better than I thought they would, right? They were one of my worry points. I thought they played well.
Yeah.
Overall, what I could see. And then Texas comes out and scores in 4 plays. You know what I'm saying? You can't do that. That's the time you got to step up and stop them. And then the last touchdown Texas had, the guy was open by 10 yards.
Easily.
What the heck?
Yeah.
I mean, he was anybody within 10 yards of him. I mean, some of those throws were great passes and, them good plays by them. You got to take your hat off. That was a good team. But, the SEC is obvious at this point of the year. It's not what it's been in the past. I think everybody sees that.
Right, really, for whatever reason, the best win has been Ole Miss at Tulane, and hats off to Auburn as well, finding a way to win at Cal. Yeah, fighting. That was no question. But other than that, where Texas A&M gets beat, heck, Tennessee struggled mightily with Austin Peay. They did. So, I mean, and of course, the difference in those games is they won them. Yes.
You got to win your games. And
Mississippi State found a way to win in overtime at home against Arizona. Arkansas struggled with Kent State out of the gate, and I went back and watched a little bit of that, and Kent State implemented kind of a 4 corners with these new clock rules. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, no, you don't see more of that.
Yes.
The clock rules are awful.
Yeah.
They shorten the games. They're shortening the games so the TV can have more commercials. It's ridiculous, and the fans all are to be in uproar.
And if you haven't,
they've changed the game of football to where they're quicker. They're not any quicker than they were last year. They just get to have more commercials.
Well, the Arkansas-Kent State game, I think, lasted 2 hours and 45 minutes. And it was because Kent State implemented that 4 corners, just spread them out. And I think you're going to see more and more teams. And the other game that'll make you sick to your stomach if you're an SEC fan is Kentucky and Eastern Kentucky, because Eastern Kentucky legitimately had a shot to win in Lexington.
Yeah. It's interesting how these NIL teams are not doing as good as they were before NIL. So
yeah, that's interesting.
As a whole.
At home against Middle Tennessee, I have not seen that game, but it's the conference. I don't know where it stands right now. I mean, the Pac-12 is killing it on the football field right now, and
Pac-2, right? So let's wait till game 3.
Yeah.
And I think after 3 games, you can look at Sarrigan rankings, and it'll tell you exactly where everybody stands.
Well, funny. So I went and looked it up. Do you want to know where Sarrigan's got Alabama?
Sure, after 2 games. Sure.
They're number 2, right behind Georgia. They're 1-1, but they're number 2 in the rankings.
how does that work? I don't know. I don't agree with that, obviously.
Yeah.
So where's Texas?
That's 6.
Yeah,
6.
How did Middle Tennessee do against Missouri, Steve?
I
never
did
followed
not
that game.
see that game, but I know it was a struggle as Missouri won 23-19 at home over Middle Tennessee.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think Middle Tennessee's better. I think Alabama's not as bad as they look against Texas, not as good as they looked against Middle Tennessee.
Yeah.
I think they're somewhere in the middle, and their guys have to play. Offensive line has to get better. They should have had help for 74. It's his first game in a big game like that, and I don't think they gave him enough help.
So, are we going back to coaching here? Are we talking? Does this?
I think it. Yeah, I think it falls. It all falls back to coaching when you're a head guy. I love what Coach Saban said after the game, though.
Yeah.
The crowd was amazing at the game.
Mm-hmm.
The atmosphere was great. You just got to take your hat off to Texas and tell them congratulations, and maybe we'll get better enough and we'll get to play them again somewhere.
All right, Wes. Appreciate the thoughts, and we'll see you Wednesday.
Sounds good.
That's my conversation with Wes Neighbors just a couple hours ago. 256-576-4977. The telephone number. Keith Neighbors is filling in for his brother Wes. Where do you want to begin? Do you want to begin with the final quarter?
Well, I agree with almost everything my brother said, surprisingly.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, the fourth quarter seems to be, it's where we have always won games. We would out physical people, wear them down. And then here the last, 2 to 3 years, maybe Georgia took our mojo.
Is this an Austin Powers reference from that sequel?
Well, because, we always would beat Georgia in the fourth quarter, right?
You would.
Yeah.
You would.
And then finally Georgia beat us in the
Certainly
fourth
had
quarter.
that mojo in the fourth quarter of the SEC championship game.
Yeah.
Didn't in the national championship.
Yeah. And since then, as like Wes pointed out, every game we lose has been in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And, if you were thinking like old school football, you would say, well, this team must not be in great shape. But I don't think that's usually a problem anymore. Most of these guys are in conditioning, almost probably 11 out of 12 months out of the year. They're doing something, running. But there were times I looked at our offensive line, and one time after the second interception, I believe it was, that our DBs looked gassed. They had the ball a lot longer. MTSU had the ball longer than we had it.
Almost 11 minutes in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
10 minutes and 58 seconds, to be exact.
So, and that's not a way to win a football game. You need to possess the ball. You need to have drives and not put your defense in a bad spot. And your defense, after you get the lead finally, doesn't need to give up the lead in 5 plays.
Yeah.
They come up, make a play, get the ball back, and then let your offense. We were always behind the 8 ball the whole game.
So this is the bad news. Bama fans, do you want some good news? Would you like some good news, Bama fans?
Yeah.
An opponent like Texas, I don't see on your schedule right now.
Yeah,
I don't see the physicality, especially along the defensive front, on even LSU right now. I don't see that level of physicality in any other opponent on Alabama's schedule. Now, can teams get better and worse? Of course they can.
So, and Wes brought this up about the NIL teams.
Yeah.
I'm looking at 2 guys that, who start for us in the defensive backfield, who I'm guessing, didn't have a lot of major college offers coming out. Now, they're good. They were great on their teams. One from UAB and one from Louisiana.
Yeah.
And and we had holes to fill, so that's why we got them. But are those guys, the same as Mark Barron? A key reminds me.
A high bar right there.
What? That's that's how we were so dominant all these years. Go back.
There's only so many Minkas out there.
Well, I understand, and I think 2 has a chance, but I think 2. Maybe try to make. I think he was trying to make plays sometimes during this game instead of just doing what he was supposed to do. Well, that's one. Yeah. Once again, you have freshmen starting. Freshmen, the ball will find you eventually if you're just doing your job. You don't always have to go out of your way to make a play, but he played high school ball last year where he probably made every play.
I referenced it with Wes right there in that conversation. Just as a sidebar, listen, I know this is the dominant part of this conversation here today, Texas and Alabama, but do me a favor, go watch the Kent State-Arkansas game. I am real fearful that more teams are going to implement what Kent State almost pulled off in Fayetteville. And not only keeping in the game longer, but going, pardon me, Jack Doss in college football. Just spread them out and use the clock. And to Kent State's credit, they were able to implement it for a long time and control it.
Well, you have to get first downs to do it.
That's exactly right.
It's like running the four corners in basketball, which I guess you
yes, that would be the Jack Doss reference.
Yeah, yes. And you can't turn the ball over doing that.
No, you cannot. No.
So,
but it just...
There's a certain skill set to do that, too. And first downs...
My favorite quote of the day does come from Sam Pittman on the clock rules.
Well, it is. And I don't know what we're going to do with it because we sure are getting the commercials. We're doing a good job there. And I don't mean that negative. We just are.
We're getting the commercials.
Well, Alabama, of course, I've gone to the first two games now that, Hayton's dressing and doing stuff. And so we go I guess it's been the last few years where they have a guy that stands on the field. Used to be the guy.
The clock, the countdown.
Yeah,
the guy in the red usually.
Or is red?
Is he still wearing red?
I didn't even notice what he's wearing because he has this huge clock.
Oh, huge clock, and it's a countdown.
But they either start at 3 or 3:30, and I'm thinking, didn't these commercials only used to run 2.5?
I think it was 2:45. No. What used to be on the clock? What I remember.
No, it's like 3 or 3:30 every time.
Of course it is.
And I was like, really?
I know we've got jammed up phone lines. LSU, Lynch, Mike, Mark. Let's go ahead and take our timeout right now. Next segment the rest of the show belongs to you. 256-576-4977.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Tom Luganville here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Southern Fidelity Mortgage. Think of them as a loan for everyone, offering more products than anyone else and the guaranteed lowest rates and costs in town. Of the 2,000 loans that Southern Fidelity Mortgage has pre-approved over the last 10 years, all but one have closed. That's unprecedented in the banking business. For FHA, VA, rural development, and conventional mortgages, for the best mortgage experience in town, it's Southern Fidelity Mortgage.
Call Southern Fidelity Mortgage Company at 256-656-5936.
Are you in the market for a recreational vehicle? Do you want to get out and see more of this beautiful country? Well, imagine hearing the laughter of your little ones enjoying gooey s'mores by a cozy campfire and making lasting memories with your friends and family from the comfort of a new camper. We can make your dreams come true at Hall's RV. With over 15 years in the camping business, we know how to get our customers into the perfect camper. We have several models and floor plans here for you to choose from, both new and used. We're family owned and operated with fantastic deals and great service. Everyone wants to work with people they can trust, so come on down to Hall's RV and get the deal of a lifetime. We'll treat you right and get you on the road in the camper of your dreams. Visit us on Highway 431 in Albertville. Hall's RVs, where we sell fun. Or see us on the web at www.hallsrvsales.com.
Normally, when you call a roofing company, all you hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Since 1965, the folks at Fleming have been focused on what you need, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement, commercial or residential. And when it comes to storm damage, you want Fleming on your side. They know all the ins and outs of insurance claims and will guide you through the entire process. Log on FlemingHSV.com and book your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
When I chose a garage door company, I did my homework. I needed Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. They have a 5-star Google rating. I checked their reviews and liked what their customers had to say. Precision Overhead Garage Door has lifetime warranty packages. Same-day service if I call before 2 p.m. If they can't make it the same day, my service call fee the next day is waived. They did a 25-point safety inspection on the door and operator. Now that's peace of mind. Residential, commercial, and gate services. Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. Call 256-400-4500.
Isn't the story of the prodigal son an amazing story? Basically, a rowdy boy who literally wished his father dead, ran away, and consumed his wealth with hard and fast living. Yet the father looked for his return every day, and when the boy got tired of eating pig slop, he decided to return. What did the father do? As soon as he saw that boy, he ran to him, threw his arms around him, and killed the fatted calf for a great celebration. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of the Cross Point Church. If you're looking for a church home, come see us, smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
This segment of The Drive is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford, located online at woodyandersonford.com with 2 locations, Hughes Road in Madison and Jordan Lane in Huntsville.
All right, let's get into it, shall we? 256-576-4977. Crimson Tide Rewind comes up in 32 minutes, so the floor is yours. LSU Lynch, we'll begin with you, sir.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Well, I'm upset. You know, I'm an LSU fan, but, I mean, come on, Alabama. And look here, at the SEC West, why is it that we got a Wild Piglet, and then we got Auburn, and then you got 2 Mississippi teams ranked above us?
What rankings are you looking at?
The SEC West.
You looking at?
I mean,
you look.
That's because they hadn't lost.
Okay, but no conference games start this week. It's a big week for LSU. LSU and Mississippi State this week. I'm really intrigued on that one right there, LSU Lynch.
I don't care about. Look at this is embarrassing. Alabama should be right there, number 1 in the SEC West. Y'all should be, okay? And then look, why is Tennessee ranked number 4 in the East?
What are you looking at?
He's just looking at. It's probably ESPN, and if you click.
So here's the deal: no rankings matter. Zero rankings matter right now. The college football playoff ranking doesn't come out until November.
All right, so if you just go to standings and go to SEC East or West, anybody that's lost a game goes down.
I get that.
All right. So if Tennessee's number 4, it's because there's a T. it goes alphabetical if everybody's undefeated.
So you're just looking at SECSports.com and clicking on football and seeing the rankings. Is that what you're telling me?
The East and West.
Okay. I don't see this.
Those
as
aren't
a big
rankings.
Deal.
Those aren't.
I don't see this as a big deal, LSU Lynch. We've got a lot of football left in front of us.
Well, I mean, it's really because let me tell you about my team.
Are you just trying to needle Bama fans? Just be truthful, okay? Just go ahead, be truthful, LSU Lynch.
I don't hate Alabama. I don't. They are two teams I like. It's my team and Alabama. That's it. I don't care about anybody else.
Okay.
But look here. We were horrible. We just played an HBCU team, okay?
Yeah.
They threw for over 330 yards last week, okay?
Yes, they did. Grambling.
Yeah, and our pass rush still sucks.
Yep.
Jaden Daniels, he can't throw for more than 10 yards. You hear me? I mean, he had a couple of passes, a 20-something, and really, that boy got to throw. You hear me?
Yes, sir.
I want new throw in news. Come on. I mean, come on.
That's what intrigues me about this game at Mississippi State. Mississippi State, I feel like they threw everything at Arizona, watched a good bit of that game, and I think I know more about Mississippi State than I do LSU right now because I don't know who's going to be healthy going into this game for LSU. So
exactly.
I think they match up decently well, and I don't know if I would have said that at SEC Media Days.
Well, I'm not happy with the coaching. I'm not happy with the special teams. I'm still not happy, but I'm going to be a fan. I'm going to call into your show, and I'm going to buy a $25 gift certificate, for some chicken wings somewhere.
Well, this Friday you got Bad Daddy's Burger Bar, so that'll fill your tummy quite well. But if you want to tee it up, we've got some golf on Thursday for Gunner's Landing, so you can grab some golf on Thursday and then some burgers on Friday.
But I'm going to tell you what, Florida State, I mean, when you've got that defensive line and you have a 6-year quarterback,
yeah,
that boy should be in the NFL. You got a 6-year. They are a good team. You cannot disrespect them. They are a good team. And
I tell you one thing that I am excited about being an old school college football fan, at least from what I've seen the early returns. The November date, I think it's November 11th, between Florida State and Miami, that has a chance to be what it used to be, where it means a decent amount, not only for the Atlantic Coast Conference, but for playoff rankings. Because if you go back and watch that Texas A&M Miami game, the more talented team did not win. Absolutely the more talented team. The better coached team won. And they should have won bigger. But Texas A&M is teetering right now. And I listened to Jimbo today, and
I got to hear that.
Full recovery mode. But I'm telling you, where's A&M at this week? A&M is at home. Oh, he's got Warhawks of Louisiana Monroe, the fighting Terry Bowdens. But then it's a home game against Auburn, and I'm telling you, that could be intriguing. Thank you, LSU Lynch. I want to get to some other calls. I really appreciate you calling in. Let's talk to Mark on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. The floor is yours, sir.
Hey, thank you for taking my call. It's tough as an Alabama fan watching that game, but I was just going to, I know there's several people waiting, so I'll make it quick. I tell you what I felt like I was more disappointed as a Bama fan was Alabama, a lot of us forget, Bama took the lead, had the lead in the fourth quarter.
Yep.
And Texas did to Alabama what Alabama has been doing to teams since Saban's been there. They out-physical Alabama in the fourth. And one thing that I don't want to sound like I'm blaming the officials, which were, I think they were part of the conference that Texas plays in. I don't know why they didn't get a neutral.
Well, the SEC officials were in Austin last year. So usually when you host a Power 5 school, for instance, last year when Arkansas went to BYU, it was an SEC crew, And so this year, what is BYU still independent this year? I cannot. It's hard to play that coconut shell game. They are Big 12, so a Big 12 crew will be in Fayetteville this weekend.
Yeah, they've always done it that way.
Yeah.
So what I was going to get at is that drive, that right after Alabama, Burton gets past, Milrose, people forget he threw a beautiful pass. Burton catches it, Bama's up. Texas gets the ball and had third down, so they throw the ball, and number 3 for Alabama gets, and I've got a first cousin that's a SEC official. He did not call that game. And so I called him and asked him to look at that play for me and tell me his thoughts, and just to make it quick, the guy falls down and trips up, and that's not a pass interference call. It's a horrible call. It was thrown about 30 yards over his head. And so it was
First
a no
play.
call for then. Y'all remember that?
Yeah, it was actually third down, so it would have been the third play of their 5-play drive.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
It was a pass interference, which it looked like incidental contact if you're an Alabama fan.
Well, it was according to an SEC official that's objective. Didn't go to Alabama, and all that. But if you look at so when they grade these officials, that one will be one they'll say, okay, you get a minus here, because they do grade them. And then Coach Saban's not going to blame officials. I don't think he even brought that play up. But plays matter. You don't get beat by a play. You don't lose. You've always heard. You don't win by one. You don't lose by one. But you come off the field there up 3, and it's just one of those things that you hate to see happen. I remember looking at 3 after the call, and it was like he played a pretty good game defensively. My thinking is this though. I thought Alabama was going to be more physical under Kevin Steele, and they got whipped in the fourth quarter, and that is where we lost the game. I don't think it's as much Milrose and offense as it is the defense. When it needed to buckle up and do something, they couldn't. And I don't know if it's just the defensive line. Is it Texas has a great offensive line? We'll see. But I also get y'all's comments on just the physicality of Texas and how really I thought they won both sides of the line. I know West is not here. It sounds like West, but that's not West.
Sounds like West.
Yeah. Well, to answer your question, you're right. Alabama did get whipped on both sides of the line of scrimmage. Offensive line, in my opinion, did not. Their defensive line played better than our offensive line. Their offensive line played better than our defensive line. I would disagree a little bit, saying it's not the offense's fault, because the longer you control the ball on offense, the more effective our defense is going to be, because they won't get as tired, and the least effective their defensive front's going to be, because they will start getting tired. Having 11-minute discrepancy in the fourth quarter, and that's when everybody starts to really get tired.
Yeah.
And they held the ball.
10:58.
Yeah, 10:58 to our what's that 4:02 then?
Yeah.
To our 4:02. Yeah, that makes fatigue makes cowards of us all. So that offense and defense do have a direct correlation. The stats and everything, how one side plays. If one side's playing horrible, then if your offense is not getting first downs and doing 3 and outs, your defense is going to get worn down a lot faster. And we weren't consistent on third down. We couldn't consistently run the football after the first quarter. All that makes a difference in the whole game. So Alabama has it. If we're going to run the offense we're running, I'm not sure Milrose is a quarterback. If he's going to be our quarterback, we don't need to be a pure drop back passing team. We need to use what he can do, and what he can do, he can throw the deep ball really well, and then we need to go play action. To do that, we have to be able to run the ball better. Offensive line has to play better, but then then we can go play action, and he can hit that easy the tight end and the flat, and then take his shots. Out with his arm and his you can take a shot, maybe once or twice a quarter. And but I don't think he's just a drop back. I don't think he sees the field that well. I think he stares down receivers. He stays on one receiver too long. Then he's holding the ball too long. I mean, sometimes it's quarterback has to get the ball out of his hands because sometimes they're bringing somebody's coming unblocked.
Yeah.
And you got to go hot. The receiver of the back needs to know, who's the hot guy. I mean, there's a lot it goes into all this stuff. But right now he's just not processing as a drop back to where if we play action, roll him out, do a little RPO, I think he's suited for right now. He's more suited for that kind of offense.
Appreciate the phone call, Mark. 256-576-4977. Getting your reaction to the 10-point victory for the Texas Longhorns in Tuscaloosa. On the subject of finishing, if there was one school that I saw that did finish and finish strong, the Ole Miss Rebels. The fourth quarter belonged to Ole Miss at Tulane. That was impressive. It really was. Let's talk to Wolverine Dan, who's up next. How are you, Dan?
Yeah, we finished strong. I know we did.
Who did you play?
Hey, don't you start doing Abraham on me, all right?
I didn't listen. I was working. Did he go running rebs on you? I know that you played at UNLV. I can't wait to see that TV ranking to see how many people wanted to watch Michigan and UNLV on CDI.
That'd have been a hell of a basketball game back in the 90s.
Yes, it would have.
All right. Okay. All right. First off, I'll do a positive then from a negative. Jim Harbaugh doing the chains for his 10-year-old son in football. Tell me that ain't cool.
That is cool. I like that story.
He's making all this negativity into a positive. That's how Jim is. This team is poised. Quarterback JJ, his completion percentages is off the hook, guys. All right, I'm telling you, this guy is poised in the pocket, and he's unlike your quarterback at Bama, I think he's probably a better athlete than McCaffrey, JJ. Better athlete, but as far as pocket presence and knowing his surroundings and checking off on wide receivers, I'm telling you, he's strong. If he plays like this the whole year, he'll be one of the 5 in New York. Don't you agree?
Well, I hope you guys can get past Bowling Green this week. And what is another gauntlet?
Well, I will agree with what he's saying, except you can't go by people's stats right now. I mean, if Alabama had, Milroe's completion percentage and everything else would be a lot higher if he had played the two teams that Michigan started out with.
Well, okay.
But I agree with you, though. I think right now, I think he's a lot better quarterback than most. I'd say he's probably at least in the top 7 quarterbacks in college football right now, at least.
Well, I agree. I'm not disagreeing with the schedule. I don't make the schedule. I'm just a fan, okay?
Well, he doesn't either. So, I mean, he's playing his competition.
That is the next thing that really needs to happen in college football, where you don't have these schedules 10 years out in advance, where you can have some programs, it's a roller coaster, up and down, where there is a little wiggle room inside of that schedule.
Well, there is.
But that would take, I don't know, everybody getting along and being on the same page.
Well,
and that's not going to happen.
Well, guess what?
Unless the television contracts all say the same thing.
Oh, that's not going to happen.
No. But in my closing, I don't know if Wes told you. Well, I'm sorry, Wes. You're his brother.
That's Keith. That's Keith.
Keith. Okay.
But he's been mistaken for Wes plenty by his voice.
Yeah, he sounds like Wes, for crying out loud. Anyway, Keith, in my closing, I'm the guy that put money on the Lions to beat Kansas City, and I didn't get any points. I went straight up on the bet. So I'm still living in a really good place right now. And I like over the weekend, guys.
What was the payout?
What was the payout? Didn't you put $20 on it, or what? How much?
I can't remember what I didn't even have a ticket. It's in Michigan. I left it with my brother-in-law.
Ooh, that's dangerous right there.
That'd be at least at 10%. At least 10%. The longer I have to hold it, that'd be more.
I made 2 bets on division championship for us to win it. 2 bets on it. It's coming in. I'm getting payday. All these years, I'm starting to get paid now. It's about to go down. See you later.
See ya.
Thank you, Dan. If you missed Coach Saban from earlier today, here's how he opened his press conference earlier.
How are we doing today? Good. So I don't think it's any huge secret or anything that we did not execute on a consistent enough basis, in this last game. And, too many turnovers, penalties, mental errors on defense, sacks. Things that are helpful in being consistent in terms of whether it's sustaining drives, not giving up big plays that, lead to field position and scores. So the focus is 100% on how we get it turned around. The future is now. All right, so how do we get our players to we got to do a better job as coaches to help them be able to play, better, more consistently in the game, put them in a position where they have the best chance to be successful. But I think all these things are fixable, very fixable. I believe in our players. I think we've got good players. I think, Texas has a good team. And just like I said before, it was a test. It was like, an early test in the semester. We didn't grade out very well on the test. So, what are we going to do to get a better grade? I think that's what we have to really learn and grow from and make a commitment to. And, I think our players with the kind of character and attitude that we've shown, so far as a team, I think they'll respond the right way. And I think the coaches will do the same. South Florida is had a first-year coach, and, they're moving the ball and scoring points. And, it's not about necessarily always who we play. It's how we technically execute against the team that we play so we have a chance to be successful. It's a road game. It's our first road game. They've got some good players. They've got a pretty good quarterback. They play hard on defense. So everyone's capable. But it's about you playing to your standard, us playing to our standard, and trying to play the kind of football that we need to play so that we have a chance to be more successful on a more consistent basis.
I know Coach can't say it, but South Florida's awful. I mean, they're flat out. They struggled against Florida A&M last week at home. Pause for effect. They struggled at home last week over Florida A&M. It is the former Tennessee offensive coordinator, and Alex Golish, who is the new head man in charge. But I mean, this is a bad football team. But it's good, I think, for Alabama to have this kind of evaluation game where how do they bounce back? How do they look against a much lesser opponent? MTSU, I think, could wipe the floor with South Florida. My opinion. But South Florida's bad.
Yeah, well, I hadn't seen them play, but I'll take your word for it.
Watched a little bit of it, yeah.
Their last coach, he was the former offense coordinator at Clemson, right?
Yes.
And I think
hard to keep all these names straight.
And he didn't do very well either down there.
No.
There
was so much talent in that state.
Yeah, but once again, it's NIL. I mean, these guys are leaving and coming and going. And
there's also another game this week further up the road with Tennessee at Florida.
Yeah, Florida. Yeah, they didn't look good at all.
Ooh.
So,
and what Dion is doing at Colorado is putting pressure on every new coach.
But here's the thing. And Dion got a lot of criticism for this. He is old school.
He is.
He
came in and go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm just saying he got rid of everybody. But and some of those guys probably didn't. He said, most of y'all need to leave, and they did. So I wouldn't say he didn't give them a chance. A lot of those people didn't give themselves a chance. But the way he makes his players, I mean, they're all accountable for everything. And that's why I love Dion. My dad, who you would think the way Dion used to start dancing at the 50 all the way in. You think my dad would not like someone? My dad loved Dion. But one, because he was when he called, tackling somebody a business decision. Of course, you'd think my dad would hate that. My dad loved that too. My dad loved Deion. He loved everything about Deion. I've always loved Deion.
So my phone blows up during college football season, and it's blown up a little bit more because Jerry Glanville, I'm telling you, he watches every snap of the Colorado games, and he loves it. He just loves it.
Yeah. I think once they start playing USC and Oregon and people who have better defensive lines and better offensive lines, they might struggle a little bit.
True.
But I hope they win every game.
They have Oregon on their schedule. I know they have USC on their schedule, but isn't it? So I don't know if another sidebar in case you haven't heard this. Fox, their warm-up show or whatever they call for their big noon kickoff was supposed to go to Illinois this weekend for a Big Ten matchup between Penn State and Illinois. Well, they scrapped it last minute and said, we're going back to Colorado for Colorado State. Now you've got both ESPN College Game Day and Fox.
Does that ever happen?
I'm sure it has.
I mean, the championship games maybe and stuff like
that.
Yeah,
but I'm sure it has, but it's not as if Colorado's playing USC or Oregon. They're playing Colorado State. They're playing Colorado State.
It used to be the Fighting McElwains.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. In fact, I remember back in the day. We do need to take our final time out. We'll hear a little bit more from Coach Saban. Final call for phone calls on this Monday edition of The Drive.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Here's Bobby White from Woody Anderson Ford on their service department.
President's Award winner 2 years in a row. That's only given to the top 10% of Ford dealers in customer satisfaction. So we're very proud of the service department. And our body shop. If you happen to get into an accident, which not a lot of people just want to go down and see a body shop, but if you get into an accident, award-winning body shop. We have the state-of-the-art paint booths back there. They're waterborne paints that we use, friendly for the environment. We've got our production system, the way things are in and out. We have the fastest cycle rate in town of getting your vehicle in, getting your vehicle out, and assured that it's fixed right. We take pictures before it's wrecked, and not only after, but we take it as we're putting the parts on. All done to above industry standards. So I'm proud of our body shop too. Don't forget our parts department. So if you don't have to need parts, performance parts, or just parts if you're a weekend mechanic.
Woody Anderson Ford, located at the corner of Jordan and Sparkman, as well as Hughes Road and Madison. You can also check out the great deals at WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Football season and Bad Daddy's Burger Bar. The perfect combination of good times and great food. This season, score big with one of our chef-inspired expressions of pure burger amazingness. Our delicious burgers are made with premium Angus beef, and you can pair it with one of our signature cocktails or a cold craft beer from our huge selection. Bad Daddy's Burger Bar on the Parkway in Huntsville and our new location at Cliff Farm, Highway 72 in Madison. There's nothing like the freedom you feel when you're on the water in your own boat from Freedom Marine in Guntersville. New or used, Freedom Marine has just the boat to make your time on the water the best it can be. Pontoons, fishing, ski boats, you name it. And all season long, Freedom Marine is giving away 4 packs of Alabama football tickets. Just log on the Freedom Marine Facebook page and like, share, and comment to be eligible. New and used boats, outboard sales, financing, service, and parts. It's Freedom Marine. Highway 431 in Guntersville and online at freedommarincenter.com.
Hello listeners, my name is Jonathan Dunwoody and I own Minuteman Press. We are a full-service print shop that is locally owned and operated. I have personally been handling direct mail for over 17 years and have a great relationship with the USPS. We are the only print shop in the area that is listed as a print provider on their website and the only printing franchise that can use their logo as our partner on marketing materials. We can help from conception to design, print, and delivery to the post office. And with our easy, secure online payment option, you don't even need to leave your office. Minuteman Press, we're not just putting ink on paper, we're building relationships.
For 50 years, our mission, do the right thing and make long-term decisions. We value our customers and we invest in supporting you. We use our own technologies to automate, to provide you the best support possible. And we have the strongest guarantees in the industry. I just can't tell you I'm going to provide you great support. I have to prove it to you with my actions.
Work injuries happen in Alabama all the time, whether it's an accident at work, getting injured, lifting heavy objects, hurting your hands on a machine, or just performing the same movement over and over until your body breaks down. But when it happens, there's only one law firm to call in Alabama. That's Pond, Lehocky, Giordano. For personalized legal support, reach out to Pond Lehocky at 855-774-3838 or pondlehocky.com.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Tom Abraham here for my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
At Mr. Sparky, we're America's on-time electrician. Flickering lights and hot switches can be annoying, but they can also signal a major problem, or worse, an electrical emergency. So play it safe and leave it to the experts at Mr. Sparky. Trust our team of professional, clean, and friendly electricians. We'll get it done right and get it done safely.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8-SPARKY.
Independently owned and operated, licensed in the respective state or county.
Want to see what I bring to the party? Congratulations to The Drive as we celebrate a decade of Wes and Steve. Here's to 10 more.
Now, Sonny and Cher would say, that's on you, babe.
97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Final call for phone calls, 256-576-4977. The telephone number. I mentioned probably the two biggest wins in the conference over the weekend would be Ole Miss at Tulane. Auburn in a win at California. Auburn had 94 yards passing, 136 yards rushing, 7 penalties for 56 yards. Auburn scored in the second and the fourth quarter. The quarterback rotation was asked today to head coach Hugh Freeze. How's that going for you, Hugh?
And I don't know that that's exactly what I want it to look like, but we just had no juice, no momentum, and so you're kind of searching for it. And, we've got to figure that piece of it out to where you're not we need Peyton to play better, truthfully, too. Now, the last drive, he played well. Prior to that, I think a few of the throws were inaccurate. And I thought he left the pocket early once. And, look, I'm not beating up Peyton. He played really well that last possession, but we do need more consistency there throughout the whole game. And that's our challenge, is to get him and Robbie and Holden to that point. And so they know that, but, Robbie's got to get his touches. And we had a really good package for him and had a good drive going in that package. And then one of our running backs went the wrong way, and it created a negative play and got us behind the chains. And so it was just one thing after another offensively, which ultimately, it has to start with me and our offensive staff as to why we, did some of the things we did. We don't control the fumbles necessarily, but there were other things that happened that caused us negative plays that, maybe we need to coach better.
That is Hugh Freeze. By the way, Braves won game 1 of the doubleheader today in Philadelphia. 10-8 was the final score. Kyle Wright just threw his first pitch on the mound for the Atlanta Braves as it's scoreless in the bottom of the first. Braves magic number, by the way, 4 horsemen. Hold them up. 4. And it's the quarter that Bama didn't win.
I was about to say.
4. Talk to you tomorrow from the Furniture Factory.
Hi, my name is Dan Aldridge. I'm here to let you know about the Aldridge Law Firm and the soon-to-be-announced Legal Town Center. I've been practicing law in Alabama since 1984, and I also practice in Tennessee. And I'm from North Alabama, and I'm here to represent you and take care of your legal needs. For many of us, hiring an attorney is not high on the priority list, and maybe a little scary, but it's something that we all need at some